I love Final Fantasy XIV. I started playing back in the summer of 2017 around the release of Stormblood, which had the Samurai as a playable class. I was hesitant to play at first because of the subscription fee and tab-targeted gameplay, but I decided I'd at least give the free trial a shot. I really didn't think I'd fall in love with this game, so I didn't bother recording any of it, but the 7 months it took for me to play through all of the story content available at the time was some of the most fun I'd had in a long time. I always regretted not recording my journey through the full story, but I told myself that when the next expansion drops, I'll make sure to record every single minute of it. Fast forward to the summer of 2019 and the release of Shadowbringers, which has been universally praised not only for being a fantastic MMO expansion, but also an incredible entry to the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole. This expansion took my already high praise of the game and elevated it to one of my favorite games of all time. And I made sure to record every single minute of it. But before we get to that, a warning. This playthrough will assume that you have either already played through the entire expansion or don't care about spoilers. If you are still playing through the MSQ, do not watch these videos. If you've never played Final Fantasy XIV and you're hoping for a story summary, there's several story summaries already up on YouTube, but my best advice would be for you to play it yourself if you can. This game's story is one of its main selling points and, in my opinion, the best story in an MMO by far. The game starts very slowly, and the base game's pacing isn't always great, but if you are the type of player that enjoys a good story and you're able to afford a sub fee, I highly recommend trying it for yourself. These videos will still be here when you get caught up, so take your time and enjoy the journey like so many of us did. With all of that aside, join me as we relive my journey through Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Tataru! Had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and Sons not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes, aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny, and still it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Oh my god! I knew they changed it, but I didn't actually look too closely at it. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. Yeah, not Grahatea, from the not future. Or something. I don't know. I don't actually know. The sooner we can work out how to help our friends, we have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. Take a shot no, actually don't do that, you will fucking die. You will absolutely fucking die if you take a shot every single time there's a head nod. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. Well, let's go! Take the boat!
Look how many people there are.
Yeah, 10 of us.
Jesse called the chief for some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
An important piece of Final Fantasy XIV lore. Lalafells are trash.
Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no!
Tataru's okay.
I didn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Tataru's okay. So is Nanamo. Everyone else is trash.
Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I have you. You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Well, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Throw wide the gates!
They dirty warrior cats. Find our friends and bring them home.
I'm ready! Let's go!
Oh, do not look at us. We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and
just gotta twist the knife, don't ya?
still it came to this.
I hope this whole expansion is just depressing as fuck. Oh fuck! I hope there's some sad shit. Hurt me, Square Enix! I just want bad things to happen. No!
From endless dreams I awake.
Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
What's his face? In another world. We got Isekai'd.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
How do you tell? How do they tell when it's nighttime?
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, yet he'd reply. Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then.
You were right, Emma. You were tired. Reckon you could do the good long rest? After all you've done, I'd say you earned it.
Warrior of Light don't drink.
Well, I've roads to travel and
We've had our fair share of drinks.
You best hurry along to the
We don't have the best experience with that shit.
Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the crystarium.
How many years have come and gone?
Dizzying heights it rises. The gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. there, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light, the pure and the corrupt, the one true struggle.
Alright, settle out, settle out, settle out, settle out. Calm down. Calm down, everybody. Calm down.
Halt.
Oh, I cannot wait to see some hentai of you. Oh, she's a dancer! Hey, it's Grahatia! I don't actually know if this is Grahatia.
Right, Captain?
I keep calling her Grahatia, but, like, who else could it be?
Who else indeed? For now, we know this hooded figure only as the Crystal Exarch. He informs this feisty bunny girl that we are his guest, and after apologizing for her cold welcome, we are allowed to pass. Little does she know, I love the abuse. Once alone, the Exarch gives us an exposition dump to explain where we were Isekai'd to. We have been summoned to one of the 13 shards, the first to be exact. It is a world that has been mostly consumed by primordial light. Only about 1/10 of the world remains inhabitable, and the survivors are hounded by the Sin-Eaters, abominations born of this catastrophe. It was for this reason that the Exarch summoned our brave anime protagonist, to save this world from being completely consumed, and in doing so, also bring salvation to our homeworld, the Source. It's at this point that the Exarch calls for us to continue this conversation somewhere that is in the middle of the fucking road, and we finally enter the crystarium.
Vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Just pump me full of all of this fucking music.
Oh, don't you worry about that, my friend. They will. But for now, the Crystal Exarch invites us to take a tour of the city and learn a bit more about where we are. Our first visit is up at the Crystalline Mead, where we will eventually spend many hours while waiting in DPS queues. We learn that the Exarch shares a homeland with us and that he summoned the Crystal Tower seemingly out of thin air. Next, we went down to the Cabinet of Curiosity and learned more of the tragedy that happened a century ago. We learned that it was the villains known as the Warriors of Light that brought the flood upon this world. But before all was consumed, a savior known as the Oracle of Light appeared and stopped the flood from consuming what little remained. We make one more stop of little importance and finally return to the Exarch. He promises to fill us in on our missing friends, but would rather do so in the privacy of his quarters. But before heading off, we get the option to ask him the question on everyone's mind since we saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, not Grahatea from the not future. I keep calling her Grahatea, but like who else could it be? Okay, so he's not Grahatea then. Well, there goes that theory.
We enter the Ocula, the Exarch's private study, and get right down to business. He informs us that while our friends are in fact here in the first, their arrivals were not as recent as we may imagine. In this world, time flows differently than back in the Source. In the space of a single hour in the Source, an entire year can pass in the first, and vice versa. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and thus is almost impossible to predict. Naturally, we are now entering a very convenient state of equivalence, so we have no need to worry about the flow of time during our stay here. This means that for the Scions, they have all been here for quite a bit longer than we would initially think. The Exarch meant to only pull our anime protagonist into the first, but as it turns out, interdimensional kidnapping is a bit harder than it seems, and thus he ended up yanking those closest to us instead. Because they were not the objects of his summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they look to have physical bodies, they are actually just spirits that we can see and touch. Worse yet, while we are able to travel between worlds with relative ease, they are currently stranded here in the First, while their bodies remain comatose in the Source. At first, they were trying to find a way to send their souls back home to the Source, but then Urianger had a vision of the future as he traveled between worlds. He saw the First rejoined with the Source, bringing the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of millions. Among the casualties would be Eorzea's greatest champion, anime protagonist.
Nice!
And thus the Scions shifted gears to focus on how to prevent the rejoining and our untimely demise. They concluded that eliminating the Sin Eaters would prevent the rejoining and save both worlds. And while we worked towards that goal, the Exarch would do everything in his power to find a way to send our friends back home safely. With our goal in mind, the Exarch suggests we reunite with our friends here in the First so that we can end the threat of the Sin Eaters together. Before sending us off on this journey, however, he makes arrangements for a room so that we can rest up, and invites us to visit the town once again as it's being prepared.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough.
Naturally.
Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil. A word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
He's like, ah, shit, I gotta grind again. That was perfect.
Avan Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of Pixie-kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm, and we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift. How
I did?
wonderfully exciting. What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did. You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass. From this moment
How
forth,
convenient.
I will be your Isnefis, and you my Snay Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other.
Sure.
Raise your hand.
This better not be some Cubase shit.
Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap a message to your friends in the source to inform them of your safe arrival.
consider it done.
Okay, so we can like...
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings.
So we can
They rarely
talk
show
to them.
themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by Pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the crystarium.
We can talk to the people in the source, okay.
Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
Na 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 na. Yeah, so okay, I was wondering, I was like, is this where we get the role quests?
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source. What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source, and tried to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the First. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrand, Minfilia and my friends. They surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness.
Nice.
Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
About 100. Almost as long as it took for you to upload a fucking video!
100 years. 100 long years.
Oh, right. Okay, so that's what's... I thought that was a glitch.
My hands find no purchase.
I forgot he was a ghost.
Be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that?
I got kidnapped.
You were summoned to save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who tried to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Who the fuck sleeps like that? Who sleeps that like a corpse?
Ah, how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest.
I'm haunted, motherfucker! There was a ghost, bitch! That room haunted!
I was not aware the room was haunted. And you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Northrend, the only area to be spared the flood of light.
You know, it might be the sleep deprivation talking, but his animations are the same as Alphino's.
Oh my fuck.
And there was a theory.
The crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Il-Meg. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armorang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe. So, will it be Calusia or Armorang?
What about Thancred?
Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin Eaters.
So he's playing The Last of Us. He's got his little Ellie, you know, miniphilia, and he's just off playing The Last of Us 2 early, before all of us. Okay, I see how it is,
Being
Thancred.
ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
Natural.
But that shall be for another day. For now, we have our sights set on reuniting with the twins. What will befall our brave anime protagonist as he sets out on this long, long journey in a strange new world? Find out in the next episode, which will release sometime hopefully within this decade. Please look forward to it.